everyone, and welcome to another educational video about screen printing by Catspit Productions. Thanks for clicking on my video today. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for spending some time with me. I'm Jonathan. I'm your host, I'm your teacher, your educator, your helper-outer, and assistant all around here on YouTube with screen printing, right? So, today is just a really quick video because this is another one of those questions that I get asked a whole lot. So let's answer it in a video to help a lot more people a lot easier. And the question is, how long should you allow a screen to dry that you just coated with emulsion, right? How long should an emulsion coated screen dry before you expose it with your film positive to create the stencil? Okay, really quick here because this is pretty simple. The question is, how long should I wait to expose the screen after I coat the screen with emulsion, right? We need to allow the emulsion to dry before we expose the screen with our film positive to make the stencil, okay? So how long should the emulsion coated screen dry in your drying rack or wherever you keep it before you attempt to expose it with your film positive? Okay, and unfortunately, again, the question or the answer to the question is not one that I could say, 2 hours, 1 hour, 3 hours, First of all, lower mesh counts hold a lot more emulsion than higher mesh counts. Higher mesh counts naturally hold less emulsion. Okay. Secondly, relative humidity where you are. If it's very humid where you are, then it might take a little bit longer for screens to dry. Okay. And how much emulsion did you actually coat it with? Sometimes some people might have a little bit more emulsion. Okay, and then the other scenario that can affect the drying time is like where you're drying it. If it's in a cabinet, a box, like I have a big cabinet, holds about 17 screens. Well, if I load it with 17 screens, I let it dry for a couple of days. If I only have 4 or 5 screens in there, overnight is plenty. But here's the thing to remember. You need to allow the emulsion to dry before it will perform properly. If there's any amount of moisture left in the emulsion when you attempt to expose it, it will not work properly. It will just be a problem and you'll be wasting all your time that you put into coating the screens, prepping them and drying them and all that stuff. Okay, so the answer to to the question is let them dry longer rather than shorter. Don't rush the drying. And some people put a fan and stuff like that. I mean, that's okay as long as you're not blowing dust or dirt, debris onto the emulsion that's wet, right? So you can do that. Yes, you can use a fan. You could, I don't recommend using a heater or space heater or anything like that because if emulsion gets too hot, it will cure. Now, maybe if you just use it to warm the room or what have you, if you have very high humidity, perhaps a dehumidifier in the area where you're drying the screens. Okay, so, but all I can tell you is that, don't rush it, okay? If you have one screen and you need it right away, okay, you can do what you gotta do, but the answer to the question is allow as much time as possible for the screens to dry. I always recommend coating your screens, getting them all ready in the evening, letting them dry overnight, or in my case, if it's a big full cabinet load, I let them dry for a couple of days. Okay, but for you guys maybe on a smaller scale where we're talking about a lot less screens, I would work in that way. Coat them in the evening when you're at the end of the day, dry overnight, the next day you have all your screens ready to go, and there's no question about whether the emulsion is dry or not. Follow? Hope that makes sense. All right, that's all I have for you today. I hope this little tip or answer to this question will help you out and make things a little bit easier. And don't forget to check out my offerings, my products at catspitscreenprintsupply.com. And listen, if I can help out with equipment especially, that is kind of my forte. That's what I do. I sell a lot of equipment, have a lot of incentives on equipment. So give me a call, ask questions. I'm more than happy to help out. Thanks again for watching, and of course, we'll see you next time.